Okay, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Okay.
Um, we're going to be looking at this idea of achieving success and recognition,
Right.
but we're going to be doing it through kind of an interesting lens,
Okay.
through the lens of a devotional text.
Interesting.
So I'm really interested to hear your take on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think is so unique about this particular devotional that we're going to be looking at today?
Well, I think what makes this one so fascinating is that it's called Manifesting Glory, Part 3,
Okay.
by Emmanuel Afiawari.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just talk about faith.
Right.
It actually dives headfirst into this idea of like practical skills and hard work,
Oh, wow.
you know?
So it's like a self-help
It's almost like
guide, but with a spiritual twist.
a self-help guide with a spiritual twist.
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed that right off the bat, too.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes this idea of diligence and dedication.
Yeah.
And it compares believers to skilled workers.
Mm.
You know, the kind of people who are always in demand
Right.
because they've really honed their craft.
Absolutely.
They're masters at what they do.
Yeah. And that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Because it's really highlighting this idea that it's not enough to just want something.
Right.
You need to have the skills to back it up.
Totally.
Like, think about it. When you need a plumber,
Yeah.
you don't just call anyone. You call the one known for their expertise.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want the best.
Right.
So how do you think this devotional connects that idea to like manifesting glory?
Well, it basically argues that developing your skills makes you more visible and
Okay.
sought after.
Mm-hmm.
So it draws a parallel between honing your craft and like advancing in your career.
Interesting.
It's as if your skills become a beacon,
Oh,
drawing the right opportunities and recognition your way.
so it's less about sitting back and waiting for something to happen to you.
Exactly.
And it's more about you taking control.
About actively shaping your own success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking those steps to improve yourself and become more visible.
I think that's a great way to put it.
And it's interesting, too, because this devotional uses a source that you might not typically expect in a devotional.
Right.
It pulls from Proverbs 22.29,
Yes.
and it quotes both the King James Version and the Passion Translation.
Right.
And they both emphasize the idea that those who are uniquely gifted and who've really put in the work
Yes.
to master their skills, those are the ones who are going to rise to the top.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting how that verse is often used in a career context.
Yeah.
But here it's applied to like personal growth in a much broader sense.
Yeah. It's not just about your job.
Right. Exactly.
It's about every area of your life.
It's about your whole being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think this devotional gets really thought-provoking.
Okay.
Because it's suggesting that regardless of what your field is,
Right.
whether it's your profession,
Right.
a hobby, or even like personal development, dedicating yourself to improving your skills is absolutely essential.
I think that's a great point. And you know what really resonated with me
What's that?
is the example of David.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even with his spiritual anointing,
Right.
it was his musical skill that got him noticed by King Saul.
Exactly. And that's so fascinating because some might argue that David's talent was a gift from God.
Mhm.
Therefore, he didn't need to work hard.
Right. It was just given to him.
But this devotional seems to challenge that idea.
Okay.
It's suggesting that even divinely given talents
Yeah.
need to be nurtured and developed.
Right. You don't just get to coast on that.
You have to put in the work, you have to practice and be dedicated.
Yeah. It's like saying, okay, you might have this raw talent,
Right.
but it's up to you to really hone it to make it shine.
Exactly. And that leads to what I think is like the heart of the devotional's message.
Okay. What's that?
It's a challenge to those who might use spirituality as an excuse for laziness.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's saying don't just pray for success. Get out there and work for it.
You got it.
Yeah.
The devotional is basically arguing that favor doesn't just fall into the laps of those who neglect their skills.
Right.
It takes effort, it takes dedication to truly make those talents skillfully visible.
I love that phrase, skillfully visible.
Yeah.
It's like saying, become so good they can't ignore you.
Exactly.
But how did the devotional suggest we actually do that?
Well, it offers a very clear call to action.
Okay.
It says, actively improve your skills, take concrete steps toward your goals, and don't be afraid to let your talents shine.
Right. Don't hide your light under a bushel.
Exactly.
It's really a pep talk.
It is.
But it doesn't end there, right?
It doesn't.
It kind of circles back to the spiritual element.
Yes, it ends with a prayer.
Okay.
Asking God for help in becoming more diligent, skillful, and positioned for what it calls profitable manifestation.
Okay, now that phrase, profitable manifestation, what do you think that means?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Do you think the profit here is just material gain?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the devotional is suggesting that when you align your efforts with your faith,
Hmm.
the profit can be multifaceted.
Okay.
It can be material success,
Right.
but it can also be fulfillment purpose and spiritual growth.
Wow. So it's really about becoming like the best version of yourself,
Exactly.
using your talents to make a positive impact in the world.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
So the key takeaway here, it seems,
Yeah.
is that skill development and diligence, hard work,
Mm-hmm.
those aren't in opposition to faith.
No,
They actually work with faith to help you achieve your goals.
absolutely. It's like a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
You cultivate your skills and your talents, but you also seek guidance,
Mhm.
inspiration, and strength through your faith.
It's about recognizing that you have a role to play in your own success,
Yes,
and your skills are a valuable asset on that journey.
absolutely.
Well, this has been a really fascinating discussion.
It has.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay.
This devotional uses the term manifestation,
Right.
which can mean different things to different people.
Definitely.
So I want you to think about what manifestation means to you.
Hmm?
And how do your skills, the things you excel at,
Right.
play into achieving your personal goals?
That's a great question.
Yeah, something to ponder as you go about your week.
I like it.
Okay, well, thanks for joining me today.
It was a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.